We're now joined by Gauteng COGTA, MEC Khumalo. An important conversation to have, particularly around if there will be stability or not due to these infightings and due to these removals of mayors, etc. or not. Because we once had a conversation as well with Action SA's Herman Mashaba, who said it seems political leaders' mandate is to ensure the collapse, other political leaders instead of focusing on residents. So perhaps it's something that the COGTA MEC can give us some clarity on. Khumalo joining us this morning, the Gauteng COGTA MEC Khumalo, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. And that is particularly the question. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, what does this mean then for governance, for stability within Gauteng, when there constantly, changes when it comes to very key leaders within the province or the city? Good morning.
Morning to yourself at the studio there, and good morning to you, the viewers of eNCA. I think the first thing that we want to say from ourselves is that it is not really auguring well, because we want to advocate for the stability of the municipalities. Because at the core of what our municipalities should be doing, it's nothing else but providing services to our people. However, we're noting the fact that we have to work hard to ensure that we improve on the conflict resolution mechanism that exists in council, because as matter stands, there's only one mechanism that exists in council, which is in times of conflict, which is the motion of no confidence. We want to propose that we look at the possibility of introducing what we call mediation as one of those mechanisms that can help us to do conflict in our municipalities. Because as matter stands now, when there's a conflict, there's only one way. We look at the mechanism that exists in council, which is a motion of no confidence, and we effect it. But linked to that, and then the question of why we want to bring this mediation as part of mechanisms that must exist within the standing rules of councils, so that council have an option to say, yes, we have this problem before us about this particular leader of this particular issue. However, we do believe that instead of going directly to a motion of no confidence, let's look at mediation. You see, our own history in this country, it bears testimony to what we're saying. Nothing beats people talking. Nothing beats negotiations.
And speaking of talking, MEC, I mean, your reaction to Mpho Phalatse winning that court case, now saying that she had been unlawfully removed as mayor of Johannesburg. What happens next now? Does that mean that she will resume her role as mayor? Does Dada Morero leave? And in terms of timeline, if that's the case, what are we looking at in terms of that transition? What do you understand now of where both former and current mayor stand?
No, our understanding is that the order of the court of yesterday is effected. In other words, Dada Morero is no more the mayor of Johannesburg City Council, and Mpho Phalatse has to take over. That's our understanding of that particular order.
And just in terms of what then this transition would mean, what does it mean then for governance? What does it mean then for the work, let's say, that Dada Morero had started as mayor and the work that Mpho Phalatse had left behind when she was ousted? Because we're trying to understand that, does it mean that work is started by mayors? When they leave, it's left halfway, there's no continuation, are residents left out of, the words to fend for themselves? How do transitions in cases like these then operate?
No, look, council operates on what is called the integrated development plans, which is the IDP. Those plans are based on the needs that would come from different wards, community-based needs. The executive mayor's task is to make determination of those particular plans and present them into council. In other words, the executive mayor cannot alone approve the IDP. As we understand matters as matters stands now in Johannesburg, is that plan was presented to council. Council approved that particular plan with budgetary provisions, and any other leader who comes in Johannesburg now would have to, at a maximum level, implement the IDPs, unless those IDPs are taken for review by council. And that's a matter of our concern. These transitions, these interventions and so on are creating challenges insofar as processes such as the IDPs are concerned. For instance, we are now at a period wherein municipalities are expected to go back to their communities to review what they presented in the last council, because the needs of the community keeps on changing and so on. However, we are not able to do that in Johannesburg, given all of these things that are happening. It is on those bases that we are calling for this other mechanism that political parties must consider.
Yeah,
but however,
right.
At a more broader level, we're saying that we need to build resilient administrations, so that you have administrations that do not only depend on the political temperature of the day, but administration that will be resilient, that notwithstanding the political changes that are affected in municipalities, those administration would continue doing the work that they're supposed to be doing, notwithstanding the political challenges.
Right. And with that being said, what's then your message of assurance to Johannesburg residents, to Gauteng residents who may not feel that stability? Because I'm sure there have been engagements. There's so many issues in Johannesburg, or even in the broader Gauteng as a province, whether it's at blackouts or potholes or water shortages, with which, all these mayors had promised to do something about. If there's a feeling of, uncertainty and, unsettlement in terms of what's to happen next, what would your message of assurance be to the residents?
Look, our message of assurance to residents is the fact that, as we indicated just now, that council operate on the basis of the plans agreed upon and the budget agreed upon. Council have got professional people in the form of administrators whose sole responsibility is to ensure that there is implementation of those things that we have agreed upon. And that as a province, we are, amongst others, running a monitoring and supporting role to municipalities. What we are not going to compromise is the fact that professionals must continue to do their work. They cannot get involved into politics. So there is no collapse of administration in Johannesburg. There's simply a political conflict that exists, which conflict from where we are, because we do speak to parties there. We've been guaranteed that this stability will soon be the issue of the past. The council would continue to operate. The court has given that council a window of operation, in the sense that the decision to have the council on Thursday, Friday should proceed, and certain of decisions that council should work up on the basis on should as such proceed. So really, if you want to put it, really the outcome is neither here nor there. What is more important is that we're making a call to all councillors, in all our municipalities, that let us bring service delivery at the core of the work that we're doing. Let our people come first in whatever that we're doing. We will work hard to ensure stability of coalition governments in our province, because the era of coalition government is with us. All that we need to do is to ensure that we heighten, we strengthen political management of those coalition government in the best interest of our people.
And I appreciate you speaking to me this morning, Mr. Khumalo. Thank you so much for your time. The Gauteng COGTA MEC making time for us, talking more about governance, stability, and making sure that they prioritize it within the province as well as the city of Johannesburg. Thank you for your time.